Quite a speech. Solon Simmons is here standing by, Vice President for Global Strategy at George Mason University, to weigh in, give us some analysis. He's coming to us from Fairfax, Virginia. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let me ask you about Michelle Obama and that emotional speech, references to her daughter, to slaves building the White House. Your thoughts on how it went over?
It was an incredibly powerful moment, and I definitely think that Michelle Obama stole the show. You know, I'd say the overall set of speeches were fantastic from the Democratic point of view, the Democratic Party. But really, Michelle's speech stood out of time. It's transcendent. I think we'll look back at this and we'll think back on the moment. I remember doing a commentary for CTV as we were thinking about what do we like to have an African-American woman as the first lady coming into the White House. And it was a difficult conversation because you knew what a big breakthrough it was going to be, and it was, and it has been. And I think seeing her there, and we've heard her say all these things before, but to see her say it in that way and in that stage, it brings it home, and it reminds us of the transformative moment we passed through, which is very powerful, and it speaks to, I think, the strongest point of the Democratic Party platform, or let's say movement moving forward, which is the ability to speak to race and gender and inclusion issues in a way that's very powerful and so different than Donald Trump.
I want to ask you about Bernie Sanders as well, because he gave a very powerful speech saying that Hillary Clinton needs to be the next president, and yet there are worries about unity within the Democratic Party here. Are his supporters, those Sandinistas, as they have been called, are they going to get the memo, do you think, Solon?
I think there will be unity comes out of this, and there's a way in which you can overplay the tension here, and I'm not trying to downplay it. It's real. Here's my perspective on it. There are two big movements that have been happening since World War II. There's one, the movement toward racial and gender equality, is now sexual inclusion, and broadly inclusion around issues of discrimination. And then there's the whole class politics that we're starting to rediscover, and has always been in play since the 1940s and earlier, but these two movements have been contested another since that time. The civil rights movement rises against the old union movement and progressivism and the economic sphere, and they've been in tension. What I saw last night actually was what it means for people to come together. You saw Sanders there speaking in a kind of a confident way. He had this idea that our movement continues. This was his line. And Cory Booker had the other line, which was, comes from the Maya Angelou poem, Still I Rise. So take those together. You've got the rising, still I rise, we will rise idea of the inclusion movement. You've got but don't forget us, our movement continues on the class politics, but they're coming together, and even the commentary about it is more sophisticated and interesting than it used to be. So I think that you can overplay this. The tensions are real, and they're old, so they're not going away. But the Sanders voters will come around. What are they going to do, vote for Donald Trump?
I want to get your take as well, Solon, while we got you, because I'm curious what you think. If you compare what we saw with the Republicans last week with what we are seeing with the Democrats, and there were critics who said the Republicans' convention was a gong show, it was a chaotic mess, and just an angry, dark convention. How does it compare to what we're seeing in Philadelphia?
Well, it's much more the Democrats are much more professional. But, that's the whole point. Trump is the outsider. He doesn't want to be a professional. He didn't even want the governor of Ohio to say he has to win. He absolutely has to win to be there. So his style is entirely different. So you can't even compare them. The Trump convention, I don't know. The polls seem to be okay. He did pretty well. The security message, and by the way, Democrats didn't talk about security at all last night. That's becoming an issue. It's about the Trump issue is be afraid and join your economic as well as your physical security fears together. He's going to be the guy he's a right-wing populist. I mean, it's a space that no one has occupied in American politics since the 1930s in the kind of way he's doing now. So it's I think, a much better convention, but we don't know if the effect of a good convention is going to be what it usually would be.
Great to talk to you again, Solon. Always good to have your analysis and expertise on this.
Hey, great to see you as well.